right, everybody, we've taken a look at MLA structure and noted how important it is to stay with double spacing only when we write. Let's look at the writing itself, the meat of what we do, especially as it pertains to argumentative essays here. So we'll start very simply with how to compose an introductory paragraph, the first overall paragraph. And the good thing about the introduction is the structure or order of it never changes. The parts never change in any class, in any essay style. They're all the same. And we use the terms HST for that. So HST, this little acronym here, stands for hook, stakes, and thesis. We'll go through every part one by one. So hook is an attention getter, a quote, a question, or an eye-popping statistic that's designed to get the reader invested in following through with reading the essay. So it should have some emotional weight. It's sort of like when you watch your favorite show on TV and the first 45 seconds have like blood and gore and you think it's really cool and you want to watch the rest of the episode. Writing is similar. We don't go to that degree, but still the idea is, no, we have to draw the reader in, make the reader interested, and that's all part of convincing the reader later about our opinions. So just one sentence. And I'm going to show you some examples after we get through all of these different parts. The stakes, the second part of an introductory paragraph, is the context of the essay. So it's generally going to be 4 or 5 sentences which give the background and context of the essay. This is where you put forth the theme or major concepts of the essay, right? And it's important to do so that the reader understands what the essay will be focused on. Now here it's common to mention the names of major works, authors, or sources that are relevant to major themes of the essay. And it's a good thing to do in this particular class. And then finally, we have our thesis, our one-sentence statement, which answers the prompt question, that is the question I asked you in the instructions. And it's best to understand the thesis as a controlling idea because it guides the flow and content of the information in the body. So everything in the body in an argumentative essay is there to prove that the thesis is correct, right? So it's important to make it clear. And here's where you put forth your argumentative position or your answer to the question that I asked you. So if you look at the overall length of an introductory paragraph, it's really just about 6 to 8 sentences. You have a one-sentence hook, you have a one-sentence thesis, and then your stakes, 4, 5, maybe 6 sentences. So keep it simple. Get the reader's attention, explain the background of the essay, and then give your position statement. Give your argument at the end of it, and everything flows from there. You'll be defending that thesis statement throughout the body. So here what I did is I just wrote some examples of how I might outline this if I were doing this topic. I live in New Orleans. I've lived in Louisiana 10 years now, back and forth from California. I'm originally from Modesto and Los Banos, but I've been here consistently since 2019 and gone through several major hurricanes. And when hurricane season starts on June 1st, everybody kind of changes the mentality about the way they live. I mean, it's notable, and it goes all the way through until November. So it's a big deal out here. And this year, the season is just going to be ugly. We're not looking forward to it. So for me, this is the media topic that I want to read about right now. And your first assignment asks you to take a current topic within the last month or so, to read about that topic in a handful of sources, and then to argue, not explain, but to argue which source handles the topic the best. So to be clear, you're not summarizing sources here. This is not 101. You're looking at the media, you're looking at the coverage it gives of the topic, and then you are arguing which gives the best coverage. So the argument is about which gives the best coverage, and you don't ever want to go back and say source A says this, source B says this. You're using those sources, the quotes from those sources, to defend your idea. I will pause there and let's look at my examples. So, again, my topic is going to be hurricane season, especially in the Gulf, right? And I'm going to write a hook to get the reader's attention. And this is true, by the way. My one-sentence hook to start the essay would be, did you know that Hurricane Katrina hit New Orleans with the power of 25 nuclear bombs? And that is unbelievable, right? Yeah. I don't even want to get into it. right? So I'm going to get the reader's attention, get him emotionally, her emotionally invested this way. Then I'm going to move on to explaining what the essay is going to be about, because it's not about what it is 17 years later after Katrina in New Orleans. It's not about what everybody did at that time. It's about this hurricane season and how we're going to deal with it. So this is what I wrote. This year's hurricane season is forecast to be the worst on record. And it is. Many sources, including the Weather Channel, CNN, NOAA.com, and the New York Times, have already begun examining the outlook for storms to come. The general consensus, go back, the general consensus is that Louisiana and Florida might face landfall of up to 5 major hurricanes, Category 3 and above. Needless to say, residents of the Gulf are worried, and I'm one of them. So what we've done here is given the reader the context of the essay. Right? I've listed the sources that I'm going to use. I asked you to use 5. You'll have to throw in one other one. It is a good idea to list those sources here in this essay, right? So the reader knows what you're dealing with. And then, once you're done presenting the stakes, which is ended here with residents are worried, we're going to put our thesis. Just one sentence. Okay? And it's reading through these various sources clearly shows that NOAA.com has the best coverage, the build-up to this year's hurricane season. So I'm arguing that NOAA.com does a better job than the other sources I've listed of covering the build-up to this season. And now my job in the body is to defend that by looking at those articles, by presenting quotes from those articles, by analyzing those quotes, and by proving to the reader that my thesis is correct. Okay? So we'll pause here for now before we go on, but following this pattern will give you a good, strong, simple introduction.